Poor-looking mum. Denied at luxury store. Next day, her billionaire daughter buys the entire store. Elena Martinez enters Luxe Elegance boutique in Manhattan. Despite her modest appearance, she carries herself with dignity. A security guard immediately shadows her as she browses expensive handbags. "Excuse me, could I see that burgundy handbag?" Victoria Harrington approaches with a practiced smile. "I'm afraid that particular item isn't available for viewing at the moment, but I just saw you. Show it to that customer over there. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at a store that better suits your budget. Macy's is having a sale, I believe." Several customers turn to watch, some smirking. "I'd like to speak with the owner, please." The owner doesn't deal with customer complaints, especially from people who clearly can't afford to shop here. Jamie watches uncomfortably nearby. "So this is how you treat potential customers?" Potential customers typically don't wear 10-year-old shoes to browse $5,000 handbags. Victoria gestures to a security guard. "Please escort this woman out. She's disturbing our clientele." "I don't need an escort. I know my way out." Elena turns to leave, head held high. "And please don't return unless you're actually planning to purchase something." Jamie steps forward hesitantly. "Ms. Harrington, I don't think—" "Back to work, Jamie, unless you'd prefer to join her." Elena exits the store, her composure intact but visibly hurt. The next morning, a sleek black limousine pulls up in front of Luxe Elegance. Sofia Rodriguez emerges, dressed impeccably in designer clothes. Her confident stride turns heads as she enters the store. Victoria rushes to greet her, recognizing the billionaire tech CEO instantly. "Ms. Rodriguez, what an unexpected honor. Welcome to Luxe Elegance." "Thank you. I'm here to discuss a rather unpleasant incident that occurred yesterday." Victoria's smile falters slightly. "Yesterday? I'm not sure I understand." "Yesterday was quite ordinary." "Was it?" "A woman in her 50s, modest clothing. You refused to show her merchandise and had her escorted out." Victoria's professional demeanor remains intact, but her eyes betray concern. "We occasionally have to redirect customers who might be more comfortable elsewhere. Our clientele expects a certain atmosphere." "Let's discuss this in private." In Victoria's office, Sophia sits with perfect posture, her expression unreadable. "Now, Ms. Rodriguez, I assure you we maintain the highest standards of— The woman you humiliated yesterday was my mother." Victoria freezes. "Your mother?" "Elena Martinez. The woman you judged by her 10-year-old shoes and refused to serve. There must be some misunderstanding. If I had known she was your mother—" "That's precisely the problem. You shouldn't need to know someone's connections to treat them with basic human dignity." Victoria's face drains of color. "Ms. Rodriguez, I sincerely apologize for any misunderstanding. Had you known she was the mother of someone wealthy, you'd have treated her differently. That makes it worse, not better." A knock at the door interrupts them. Jamie peeks in nervously. "Ms. Harrington." She's here again. Victoria looks through the glass wall of her office to see Elena entering the store, accompanied by a professional-looking assistant. "Security," Victoria calls out reflexively. Sophia's eyes flash with anger. "Touch her," and this conversation ends very differently. Victoria quickly gestures for security to stand down. Elena walks calmly through the store. Customers who ignored her yesterday now stare in curiosity. Jamie approaches Elena. "Mom, I just wanted to say I'm sorry about yesterday. It wasn't right." "Thank you, dear. It takes courage to acknowledge when something isn't right." Victoria emerges from her office, followed by Sophia. Her voice is overly cheerful. "Mrs. Martinez, what a pleasure to see you again." "There was a terrible misunderstanding yesterday." "Was there?" "Absolutely. That handbag you were interested in? It's right here, and I'd be delighted to show you our entire collection. On the house, of course." The store has gone quiet, all eyes on this exchange. "Mother didn't come back for your charity, Sophia says. She came back because I asked her to. My daughter believes in addressing problems directly, Eleanor adds. Victoria attempts damage control. Mrs. Martinez, I cannot apologize enough. Had I known your connection to Ms. Rodriguez, had you known what? Sophia interrupts. That my mother chose to live simply despite our family's wealth, that she raised me to value people for their character, not their bank accounts. My mother taught me that true worth isn't measured by designer labels, Sophia continues. She could have lived in luxury her entire life. Instead, she chose to volunteer at community centers, to live modestly, to show me the value of hard work. A customer nearby whispers to her companion. Victoria's face grows increasingly pale. You see, Eleanor says quietly, I wanted my daughter to understand that respect is earned through actions, not purchased with credit cards. The woman you dismissed yesterday, Sophia says, her voice carrying through the now silent store, is the reason I built my company with ethical practices. The reason I donate half my wealth to education initiatives. The reason I recognize the dignity in every person I meet. Victoria's professional mask crumbles completely. I had no idea. Please, what can I do to make this right? That depends, Sophia says. Are you interested in genuine change or just avoiding consequences? The store manager stammers, looking desperately between mother and daughter. Because, Sophia continues, I believe in second chances, but I also believe in accountability. Elena places a gentle hand on her daughter's arm. Sophia has always been protective of me, but I've taught her that revenge solves nothing. You taught me justice matters more than revenge, Sophia corrects. And that's exactly what I intend to pursue here. Sophia stands in the center of the store, her presence commanding attention from everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to someone special. This is my mother, Elena Martinez. Gasps and murmurs ripple through the store. Victoria emerges from her office, looking pale and shaken. Mother, would you like to share your experience from yesterday? Elena steps forward, her quiet dignity in stark contrast to the opulent surroundings. I came here to buy a birthday gift for my daughter. Instead, I was treated as if I didn't belong. A customer interjects. But why didn't you just tell them who you were? Why should I have to? Elena responds. Does a person's worth depend on who they know or how much money they have? Victoria attempts damage control. Mrs. Martinez, I cannot apologize enough. Had you known what? Sophia cuts in. That my mother chose to live simply despite our family's wealth. That she raised me to value people for their character, not their bank accounts. The store owner, Richard Coleman, hurries in, his face flushed with concern. Ms. Rodriguez, what an unexpected pleasure. I just heard you were here. Mr. Coleman, perfect timing. We need to discuss the culture of your establishment. Perhaps in my office? He suggests nervously. No, right here is fine. Everyone should hear this. Richard glances anxiously at the gathering crowd of customers and staff. Yesterday, your manager humiliated my mother because she didn't look wealthy enough to shop here. Ms. Harrington did what? Richard turns to Victoria. I assure you, this isn't our policy. Mr. Coleman, I was simply maintaining our exclusive atmosphere. Be quiet, Victoria, Richard snaps before turning to Elena. Mrs. Martinez, I offer my deepest apologies. This behavior is unacceptable. Apologies are meaningful only when they lead to change, Mr. Coleman. Jamie steps forward. If I may speak, this isn't the first time. We're trained to profile customers based on appearance. Those who don't look wealthy enough are discouraged from shopping here. Victoria glares at Jamie. That's completely untrue, is it? Jamie challenges. Just last week you told me to follow Mrs. Benson around because her handbag was last season. You said she was probably casing the store. Customers exchange uncomfortable glances. Some begin to edge toward the exit. Mrs. Benson is on our board of directors, Richard says quietly to Victoria. Victoria's face drains of colour. I didn't know. Again with what you didn't know, Sophia interrupts. The problem isn't your lack of knowledge. It's your abundance of prejudice. Eleanor places a hand on her daughter's arm. Sophia, remember what we discussed. Yes, mother. Justice, not revenge. Sophia turns to Richard. Mr. Coleman, your store has a systemic problem. It starts with management, but extends to policy. I assure you, I had no idea this was happening. That's the problem. You should know what happens in your own store. A customer steps forward. I've shopped here for years, but I've noticed how differently staff treat people based on their appearance. I just never said anything. And that's part of the problem too, Elena says. When we witness injustice and remain silent, we become complicit. Victoria attempts one last defense. Our clientele expects a certain standard. A standard of cruelty? Sophia challenges. Is that your brand identity, Mr. Coleman? Luxury items sold with a side of humiliation. Richard straightens his shoulders. Absolutely not. Victoria, you're suspended effective immediately pending a full investigation. Suspended? But I've increased sales by 40%. At what cost? Elena asks quietly. How many potential customers have you turned away? How? Many people have left feeling less than human. The store falls silent as her words sink in. This isn't just about one incident, Sophia says. It's about a culture that values appearance over humanity. And that changes today. Poor-looking mom denied at luxury store. Next day, her billionaire daughter buys the entire store. Sophia's lawyer enters the store, carrying a leather portfolio. He nods to Sophia, who turns to Richard with steely determination. My legal team has prepared an offer to purchase Luxe Elegance. Non-negotiable. Richard laughs nervously. Purchase? Ms. Rodriguez, surely we can resolve this without such drastic measures. This isn't drastic. It's business. Sophia takes the documents from her lawyer. My offer is 20% above market value. You have 5 minutes to decide. Victoria steps forward. Mr. Coleman, she can't be serious. I assure you, I'm completely serious. Sophia hands the papers to Richard. Your store has a systemic problem that starts at the top. Richard skims the documents, his expression shifting from disbelief to shock. This is a substantial offer. It's also final. My team is prepared to complete the transaction immediately. A murmur runs through the watching customers. Richard loosens his collar. Ms. Rodriguez, I've built this business over 20 years. And in 20 seconds, your manager destroyed its reputation, at least in my eyes. Elena, who has been watching quietly, steps forward. Sophia, may I speak with you privately? There's nothing to discuss, mother. This is how business works. Actions have consequences. Yes, they do, but so do reactions. Eleanor's voice is gentle but firm. Is buying this store really about justice, or is it about power? The store falls silent. Sophia hesitates. What would you suggest instead? Transformation rather than acquisition. A chance for redemption. Richard looks up hopefully. Mrs. Martinez, I'm open to any alternative. Elena turns to him. First, Victoria must go. Her attitude reflects values incompatible with basic human dignity, Victoria gasps. You can't just... Second, Eleanor continues calmly, Jamie becomes your new manager with a mandate to change the store culture. Jamie's eyes widen. Me? You showed integrity when it wasn't convenient. That's rare and valuable. Sophia nods, slowly, understanding her mother's approach. Third, all staff will volunteer monthly at community centres serving low-income families. Perhaps that will help them see beyond appearances. And finally, Eleanor adds, rename the store. Luxe Elegance suggests exclusivity based on wealth. True elegance comes from how we treat others. Richard considers for a moment, then extends his hand. Mrs. Martinez, you have my word. All of it. What would you suggest for the new name? Dignity. Elena smiles. Because everyone deserves it, regardless of what they wear or what's in their wallet. Victoria storms toward the exit. This is ridiculous. You can't possibly. Victoria, Richard interrupts firmly. Clear out your desk. Your employment is terminated, effective immediately. As Victoria exits, Sophia turns to her mother with newfound admiration. You never needed my money or power to make a difference, did you? Power comes in many forms, Sophia. Sometimes the quietest voice carries the most weight. Richard addresses the remaining customers and staff. Starting today, Lux Elegance, or rather Dignity, will operate under new principles. We will judge no one by their appearance, only by their character. Jamie steps forward nervously. I'll do my best to implement these changes, Mr. Coleman. I know you will. Eleanor places a hand on Jamie's shoulder. Because you already understand the most important thing about retail. It's not about selling products. It's about serving people. Sophia watches her mother with pride. You've been teaching me that lesson my entire life. I just didn't fully understand it until today. That's why I chose to live simply, Elena explains. Wealth can be a barrier to seeing people as they truly are. The customers who had been watching begin to applaud spontaneously, moved by the transformation they've witnessed. Mother, Sophia says quietly, you are the richest person I know. 3 weeks later, the store formerly known as Lux Elegance reopens. A new sign reading Dignity hangs above the entrance. Inside, Jamie directs staff with newfound confidence. Remember what Mrs. Martinez taught us. Greet everyone the same way, regardless of what they're wearing. Elena stands at the front of the training room, addressing the staff. The most valuable thing in this store isn't the merchandise. It's the humanity of every person who walks through that door. The employees nod, their attention focused completely on her words. Today marks a new beginning, Richard says, standing beside Eleanor. Thanks to the Martinez family, we have an opportunity to redefine luxury. Sophia enters, carrying a simple tote bag rather than her usual designer purse. Mother, your first workshop was a success. The waiting list for the next one is already full. People are hungry for authenticity, Elena replies. In a world obsessed with appearances, genuine connection feels revolutionary. Jamie approaches with a nervous smile. Mrs. Martinez, a woman just came in wearing clothes very similar to what you wore that first day. The new associate greeted her perfectly. Progress, Elena says with satisfaction. One interaction at a time. Richard turns to Sophia. Your investment in our transformation rather than our destruction has taught me more than I can express. Thank my mother for that wisdom. I was ready to tear it all down. Eleanor smiles. Destruction is easy. Transformation requires patience and faith. A familiar face appears at the entrance. Victoria, looking humbled in casual clothes. I didn't expect to see you here, Richard says, surprised. I completed the community service hours, Victoria replies quietly. As required. I've learned a great deal. Elena approaches her. And what have you learned, Victoria? That I've been measuring the wrong things my entire career. That I've been wrong. Sophia watches skeptically. Actions speak louder than words. Which is why I'm here, Victoria continues. Not asking for my job back, just asking for a chance to make amends, starting with an apology to you, Mrs. Martinez. Elena nods. Apology accepted. The path to redemption begins with a single step. Sophia embraces her mother. You never needed my money or power to change the world. You just needed to be yourself. Sometimes the greatest power is simply refusing to be diminished by others' judgment, Elena replies. That's the lesson I wanted you to learn all along. As they walk through the transformed store, customers of all backgrounds browse comfortably, treated with equal respect by attentive staff. Have you ever been judged by your appearance? Eleanor asks, turning to address everyone. Share your story and join our conversation about dignity and respect. True worth isn't found in a price tag. It's found in how we treat each other. Have you ever been judged by your appearance or witnessed someone being treated unfairly based on how they look? Share your story in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation about dignity, respect, and looking beyond appearances. Subscribe for more stories that challenge our perspectives.